Good morning. Welcome to Prog Monster. My name is Murph and I will be your host today. Today we're doing a look back at a classic rock album. This classic rock album, just a little bit about it before I show it, which is comes from one of my group of 7 rock bands. It's one of my 5 favorite albums of all time. Had a huge impact on me when I first got it. Played, I probably wore out the LP I had, and then I went and bought this CD because I got more into those because they were just easier for me to store. That's all. Anyways, this was a bit of a controversial album before its release because the band had just replaced its iconic singer, and most people figured it wasn't going to go anywhere. The individuals in the band were having issues with drugs and alcohol, with normal stuff that they do have issues with. And it's a bit of a turmoil going on, but they brought in this new singer who has become probably my favorite rock singer, if not definitely my favorite heavy metal singer of all time. And the album just crunches along. To me, it's my favorite of their albums. I know people will take issue with that because of the so many albums they had that were so iconic before that. But still, it's, as they say, a matter of personal preference and impact. How it had impacted your life when it first came out, and this impacted me quite a bit. It actually was, I think it was probably the album that put me on the heavy metal train. Before that, I'd listened to the odd heavy metal song. I wasn't a big heavy metal fan. I liked hard rock. Obviously, I was a Kiss fan, so I liked hard rock, but there's a certain level of heaviness I liked. I didn't want to go beyond that. But this band was beyond that and really has set the tone for me. So anyways, the album we're talking about is, of course, this one, Heaven and Hell by Black Sabbath. The singer, Ronnie James Dio, was fantastic on this album, as he was on Rainbow Rising before that. Just the guy has an almost operatic voice, which really doesn't seem to fit into the heavy metal genre, but this guy does it. He can do it all, and for such a small guy too. You see the back. There's a picture of the 4 of them. Now I've heard that Butler did not do a lot of bass on this, did not play a lot on this, and there was probably a bit of a problem too because he did most of the writing for Black Sabbath early on. So with Dio doing primarily, if not all the writing on this album, seems to be a bit of a conflict, but I don't know that for a fact. It's just what people have said. Anyways, the album is like an amazing album. I did wear it out quite a bit when I first got it. I may have bought the LP twice, the first one being worn out, and then bought another one. Or I may have gone just right to the CD. Either way, I played this a lot. Not so much in recent years, and it isn't because the album has diminished at all for me at all. It hasn't. It's just that I've been listening to so much stuff lately, especially, that there just isn't time to be listening to everything. A lot of new stuff I've been introduced to as well, stuff that I never listened to when I was growing up for whatever reason. Not really sure why, but I've discovered a few YouTube channels here in which the guys really put forth a lot of stuff I haven't heard before, and I'm grateful for that because that's what music's about, is like expanding your horizons. And so anyways, the album Heaven and Hell. The participants on this particular album: Ronnie James Dio replacing Ozzy Osbourne on vocals, Geezer Butler on bass, although there's some indication that a couple of other people may have played bass on this as well. Of course, Tony Iommi, who's just thundering on this album, and Bill Ward on the drums. I really like Bill Ward. He didn't stay after this album. It was his last one for a bit, and they replaced him with Vinny Appice on the next album, but still, he's a great drummer. The album starts out crunching, just smashing along with Neon Nights. Like, this song became my favorite instantly. Became my favorite Black Sabbath song. And I don't know that it is still, but for the initial period of the album, it was the song. I played it so much, just heavy, crunching, like love it, and the vocals are smashing on this. The next song, "Children of the Sea," is also one of my favorite Sabbath songs of all time. It's kind of melodic. It's kind of a sad song, a heavy metal sad song. It gives that feeling, you know. I like the acoustic bits in it too, which are really nice. "Lady Evil," another crunching song. Not as crunching as "Neon Nights," but you know, the next level below. Definitely, the bass on this is really good too. "Heaven and Hell" is probably their the title track's probably their most notable song on this. Like, most people know this song. If they listen to this album at all, this will be the one they've heard before. They play it a lot. The group actually, when it reformed and was touring with Dio, formed under this title of "Heaven and Hell" because Ozzy was touring with them as Black Sabbath at the time. Right up until Dio's death in 2010. "Die Young" and "Wishing Well." The "Wishing Well" is one of those songs that I sing a lot, and it was really a stable song for me to sing a lot of it. "Die Young," another really underrated song on this album. I like the little part at the beginning, and then the crunching part too. Really great song. "Walk Away," kind of more of a weaker track on this album. Maybe it has that feel of a radio stable song, but I don't think it ever was. I don't even think it even got a lot of radio play at all. But it just has that feeling. And then, of course, "Lonely of the Word" is probably the most underrated song on this album. It took a long time for me to like that song, but now it is just, such a deep track. It's just a beautiful song. I love it. And I think it is actually, no, it isn't. It's one of the 2 or 3 longest songs on the album. Maybe the second longest song on the album. So it does go on for a bit. The tracks range anywhere from about 4 minutes all the way up to about 6 minutes. Good amount. 8 songs. That's kind of a tradition for that period. 8 to 12, 10 songs is kind of what you got on albums. Now, of course, people are piling 15, 20 songs on a CD. Sometimes I think it's just filler, though. There's quite a bit of filler, but this album has no filler. This is a strong album. If you haven't listened to Black Sabbath before, maybe you've been on the moon or something, but and you're looking for a first album to listen to, this would be my recommendation. Although a lot of people would probably recommend the earlier stuff like Masters of Reality or Paranoid, or even the first album, or Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath. But for me, this album cuts it. It's been my favorite since I first heard it. It's still my favorite of their albums. It's one of my, like I said, 4 or 5 favorite songs of all albums of all time. So anyways, that's it. "Heaven and Hell" from Black Sabbath. Later this week I'll be doing a couple more look backs, probably midweek. And I'm also going to do a top 10 songs this week, which will feature the group Bachman Turner Overdrive, a Canadian group. The first rock band that I probably ever listened to. And I didn't listen to them a lot. There was one particular song that got me into them, and then later I got more into them. But they were probably my first rock band that was my first favorite rock band. There was some other stuff I listened to, but primarily it was them. And we'll be doing a top 10 songs from them probably towards the end of the week. Anyways, I thank you for tuning in. If you like what I had to say, please like me down below, or subscribe if you really want to hear more, or if you've got something to say about what I've said, or have a comment, or have a discussion about any of this, because that's what this is all about. It's just talking about rock music and learning more. I've learned a little bit from a couple people who have sent me messages already, and recommended some stuff which I will go and look for today. Actually, it's my day to go out, and I'm doing that as soon as I leave here. But I just wanted to thank you all for listening in today, and I wish you all a good day. And this will be Prog Monster signing off.